What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part, I want to say 8 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Malagor Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, 'twas a relatively Khorne-dedicated episode in multiple ways. Firstly, because we had a ton of battles, though that is generally true of the Beastmen, and then of course our Khornate army was the focus, getting two lovely fights, one against the Dwarfs and one against the Tomb Kings, both of which were rather tough, and both of which were Pyrrhic victories, and both of which pleased Khorne immensely. We ended off last episode with Slaw the World Eater besieging Haikk, wherein it looks like we're going to get attacked by Henrietta Ingle here and a fairly decent pile of enemies. There is a significant number of the Vampire Fleet admirals and captains and just heroes in general here, right? Interesting, interesting. Well, I think it'll be a darn fun fight, and we will have to be careful about this Pyrrhic victory. Perhaps. We shall see. Go. Alrighty, here we go. I wager this should be a pretty darn fun and or difficult fight as well. Maybe no or, just and. But anyway, the enemy has actually deployed in something of a circle formation, is now milling around in kind of an interesting little spiral here like this. Probably to try to deal with the fact that we've deployed essentially all around them as well. Makes sense that they circle their wagons, as it were. Anyway, we're going to try to give chase to one of the enemy units of deck droppers with our giant feral manticore, though I fear it'll never catch them, so it's kind of a waste of time, but at least... yeah, probably would only work with a cockatrice out of these single entities. Ooh, a nice... I want to say cackle bomb throw out of the, and no, that was the cackle bomb. Well, whatever. The gunnery wights are chucking those bombs at us and immediately break that Ungor spear herd, but wasting those bombs on the Ungor spears, frankly, that's decently in our favor. Much better than if they were to use them on more important units. And another one of those throws. Well, it's time to hit back as an overcast Vile Tide hits the middle of the biggest enemy formation we can find, severely damaging a bunch of enemy range units right before the arrival of the first of our elements of the Centaurs and Hounds of Pestilence. Now, the fast movers have just arrived and are going to do their best to tie the enemy up. There we go. Their artillery is also pretty much destroyed at this point, though a few of the enemy range units still get a few volleys off. They won't do so for very long. At least with regards to the range units versus the Hounds of Pestilence, who we buff a fair bit in this particular army with that extra armor-piercing weapon strength +8 from the Lord. They're quite nasty. Out here we have the Grog Hooves, who have closed the distance rather than checking their throwing axes, because we need them to wipe out those bomb throwers unless they do too much work. And not to worry, Grog Hooves, eventually you will be punted over to a Slaaneshi army. We just gotta get to that point. Otherwise, we've got a nice little contest between the second unit of Centaurs, or Centaurs rather, the Sons of Goros, versus the boarding crew, though it looks like they were interrupted by the Sirens, who, with their massive physical resistance, the Sons of Goros can do little to deal with. Otherwise, the Pestigors have been facing off against a unit of zombie pirate deckhand mob, who are losing slightly against them. Admittedly, the armor-piercing damage on the halberd-wielding Pestigors is a little bit wasted, but they should still waste those enemy units nonetheless. It's going to take a little bit of time. Battle is pretty darn even so far, in fact remaining in the enemy's favor, as a lot of our units have suffered severe damage, but slowly but surely we are wiping out the critical units while leaving the not so critical units. The last of the man-eaters over on the left flank have been overrun by the combination of Bestigors and the Hounds of Pestilence there. And we've had the deck droppers move one of our manticores off field, so rather than sending another one after it, we're going to have the Grog Hooves take them out. It's the only anti-air we have in this army, really. At least the only anti-air that can catch them. That said, these guys do still take a fair bit of damage from the deck droppers firing back at them, up to 13k. Very, very impressive. Frankly, I probably should have started by having these guys go after the deck droppers. And just another lesson, as always, not to underestimate them. I love the unit myself, so, you know. Anyway, the bounce power finally hits about 50-50. I think just a very tiny sliver in enemy's favor. But 50-50 works pretty darn well for us. Our Grog Hooves are now going to move in and start chucking those throwing axes at Henrietta Engel here. We've seen the throwing axes bring down Cetra the Imperishable himself, so I don't imagine some random Vampire Admiral is going to take too many of those. Otherwise, said Vampire Admiral's forces are beginning to melt away. Both of the Cyrene units are melting while under assault by the Bestigors and the Hounds of Pestilence. And though both of our Wargors and our Beast Lord did a rout, they did return. We're still having a fair bit of trouble with leadership, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to get a couple of the whatchamacallits, the war shrines in a couple of our armies. That would probably help out a fair bit. Yeah, I should really probably also sail somebody over to Nurgle as well. And I think Kairos is dead, because I checked the Tzeentchian corruption over there, and I saw none. It was all Slaneshi corruption where he was, so he might have been wiped out by a combination of the elves and the Slaneshi, and I guess the, Oshiotla out there as well. But anyway. Ooh, there we go. Another very close call and severe damage to a lot of units. One of the Manticores nearly got obliterated by that tier 1 deck droppers. 13k damage on them. You can't underestimate deck droppers in SFO. Not even the basic pistol wielder ones. And I'm not even talking about the bombs or the handgun units, both of which are fantastic. Gotta love them in SFO. The Man-Eaters did well, but not as well as the deck droppers, mind you. Syrians had okay amount of damage, but were mostly used to hold the line. The enemy lords and heroes, look at that, 14k damage and 10k damage on the 2 gunnery wights, chucking those bombs all over the place and, you know, trying to gun things down, while the vampire captains and admirals, the 4, kept our Wargors and Slaw from going after the gunnery wights, which worked out quite well for them. Solid work out of everybody, and especially out of our Hounds of Pestilence, who are definitely going to need names as well. Anyway, Terrifying Muscovy, don't really care about that. We will raise... I'm going to say after that we'll probably need the healing. Much as I'd love the money. Raise in advance. Like so, and hopefully you don't suffer attrition here. Alright, then we have to go loop back around and go after Mr. Vikram Whitebeard there. Alright, also did the... Did Arkhan just sit here at Wizard Caliph's Palace rather than attempting to punish us for attacking Vulture Mountain? Interesting, wasn't expecting that. Alrighty, Cetra the Imperishable, defeat trait from Magok, Salah, raise multiple settlements, Biting Blade, alright, for now you can keep those. Challenge completed, Harbinger of Disaster. And in theory we will want to push to Kofur, though right now it isn't in range of any of our Herdstones. And in fact, this Herdstone has everything now since... Oh, Scarbrand's going to the Great Desert of Araby. Well, that's fine. I don't really care about that. We will pop this ritual right now, so that we don't have to worry about it anymore. Perform? Yes. Like so. Marks of Ruination. Oh, just short of, by the looks of it, getting the Minotaurs. Alright, well, nearly there. What do we have here? I would like to grab that Skull Island if we possibly can. I do also, however, I want to point out that there's a fair few of these guys moving around here, and they will eventually try to go after our Herdstones. The Black Herdstone can defend itself, but the Pools of Despair most definitely cannot at this time. Anyway, Slaw. I don't know, they have Gotrek and Felix with them. Oh, you would have a very tough time killing them. In fact, I'm not even sure how you could or would, but nonetheless, you're going to go into raiding stance and go here. I'm going to regret this later, but I'm going to trust Scarby to move here rather than move Slaw down. And it's just going to hope that it doesn't come back to bite us. Alright. Like so, raid while you heal and get ready for that Skull Island. Hopefully this jerkface doesn't go after it. It's a distinct possibility. You're an Ironclad champion. Oh, right, I was thinking about getting the possibly 2 Ironclad champions for you instead of the Manbane standard, right? The Swift Strider, Warlord, whatever. Although again, he does have leadership size when attacking. Yeah, actually, while we're here, let's name some Khorngors while we're at it. Skullgors for you, and that'll match with the Skull Pigs, which are in here, I believe, as well. And Wrathful Despoilers for the other chosen Khorngors, and then let's name a couple of the regular Khorngors as well. Bloody Bulls, like so. Bloody Hooves. No one ever said Khorne was the most imaginative of a unit or a lord or hero or settlement or anything, name her, really. Mad Cows for you, just regular Mad Cows. And then for the Pestigors, if I can find them in here, you guys will be Mad Cow Disease. Or we could do Disease and Mad Cows. Both are fine. Whatever. Mad Cow Disease. Alrighty. Good enough for now. We'll name a few more after. Let's start from the top once again. That's Malagor, as always. Floating up there. Doing flying goat things. And, I guess we'll go after Sorcerers. Yeah, it's basically undefended. Alright, go after Sorcerers Islands and raise that.
Do you take me for a wasvik?
Where are you getting all these grudge settlers? How are you? Pyrrhic victory? Okay, we're gonna have to manually fight this real quick. Otherwise we'll get too damaged. Where are you getting all these grudge settler units? I don't think these guys are getting any grudges out of the way, do you? Game. Anyway, Magok, you're missing 2 units? How are you missing 2 units? One is a... probably another Wargor, I assume. We want the chosen Khorngors to have Vanguard deployment, and then potentially we want the buffs for the piggies, but if we only have 2, then... I don't know. Also, let's name you. You can be Black Forest Ham. Oh, like so. Anyway, you can go to Antok, I guess. A little bit concerned about these guys, so let us actually move out to this side of Antok. And attack them so that we back off away from these guys. And would you look at that, another army of the dwarves. And really, you're gonna go this way anyway? You little, how dare you? What about this? Yeah, there you go. And Pyrrhic victory again. we can't fight all of them. Much as I'd love to, it would take too much time. I guess we raise it and just pray? Maybe. Let's get you hooved heavyweights. You don't have them yet, but we will in a turn or two. Oh, wait. We have to decide. Alright, I guess Talaqua is probably the best option for a herdstone here. And we do have one new herdstone location, but yeah, Antok is not a great place for it, so yeah, we'll just raise it like so. And, oh, wow. That's pretty severe. We have to raise in advance because, yeah, the damage is incredible. And then we'll go into hidden encampment, I guess. Just to, you know, be hidden, basically. And we... wait. Suntree Glades is actually not in range of this. I guess we could go southward all the way to Suntree Glades. And, oh! Shodal is owned by these guys. Oh, I wonder if the Bloody Hands are thus dead. Yeah, these guys are no longer at war with them, meaning the Bloody Hands are dead, and I think the Laz Defenders might be dead as well. Although, interestingly, Khalida is now fighting the Order of Lore Masters. She hates us for destroying... Yeah, okay, well, I mean, it's not like we were ever gonna ally with her, I was just curious. Anyway, you go... Alright, go this way a little bit. We will go to Suntree Glades, but I just want to make sure that you're okay. Alright, you. Goraz the Blightbringer. Alright, I believe somebody suggested that Blightbringer doesn't seem very cornate, so let's go Blightbringer to Bloodbringer. Bloodbringer doesn't fit, unless... There we go, Goraz the Bloodbringer. Good enough. And you, sir, have Arcane Conduit. I don't really care about the miscast base chance, frankly, Cornate Army. You know what, let's go through Power Sap into Onslaught. Honestly, there's a lot of decent stuff, so... The heroes for the Beastmen are quite nice. Get another replenish troops, but then keep hold of the rest of the points because we need stuff. Do you want to temporarily build a couple of troops in here until you get the rest of the sort of cornate stuff you need? You get a couple more hounds, why not? You never have too many doggos in a cornate army. Alright, Torox, you're stuck as you are for just a tiny, tiny bit longer. We've almost got those Minotaurs. I can't believe we were so close and yet so far. Alright, Dar. I guess we're gonna move down here to Magok for now. Because you're good, and I want to double check what we have in terms of Wargors. We do have another one of the Swift Striders, and the Compassionate ones, which still makes me laugh every time. Pearl Rage, and I want the spell resistance reduction. Anyway, we will attack Sorcerers Islands. Just gonna do this manually super quick because the game is being silly here. And I don't want to be severely damaged because we need to fight Arkhan and his like 3 or 4 stacks, which is definitely going to be a toughie since we don't have the Hounds of Pestilence in this army anymore. Alright, and you go here. Okay, you're gonna be cowards and go all the way back there. Oh, they do have a Screaming Skull catapult. Yeah, fair enough. Let's go for... I don't know, you guys. Alright, fine, blob up like that. I don't know, whatever. Alright, just don't want them to take too much damage from the Screaming Skull catapult. Alright, you piggies cannot Vanguard deploy, so you're just gonna go here, and then... I guess all of you guys. Alright, you're gonna be group 1, you're gonna be group 2, you're gonna be group 3, gonna keep this nice and simple, and then group 4. Alrighty, and away we go. Like so, like so, like so. The Harpies should tear through the bats relatively easily. Let's go for the Jagged Dagger, pop off a Flock of Doom fast as we can. Harpies, no. Kill the Flyers, you guys move around. Get ready to go after the range units, but don't engage immediately. You want to pop off another spell? Why not? Go for the Penumbral Pendulum while everybody else is not here, and then... lovely, and then Defiled Crows right there. Help out with this, Scourge of Arden. Get ready to land, and group 2. Charge on, I don't really care about who. Alright, you guys, you could probably tear apart that Nehakaran Horseman unit in a second. Ah, we got a unit of isolated range. Isn't that lovely? Or not so lovely for them, maybe. Alright, you guys come down on it. Still an Eshy giggle. Alright, you guys kill this. Alright, everybody else is moving in. Good, good, good. You guys can go after this giant. Go for the Tomb Scorpion. We should have another Flock of Doom available now. Pop it in the blob. And then let's go for Grrr in the midst of everything as well. Lovely, lovely. And you guys go around and try to catch that unit of isolated units. Alright, I guess we don't even need the Flyers, as in the big Flyers. Keeps the battle slightly more interesting. Ow, how'd you get so damaged? Alright, well, so damaged is maybe a little bit of a, maybe not a misnomer, but not quite right. Anyway, alright, let's bring in the rest of the Flyers just to speed matters along. Probably should have just done that at the outset. Anyway, you can back off now, just to back the damaged ones off. We can make them into group 5, as they will no longer need to participate, and the rest of everybody is fine. Wargor, why aren't you fighting? Alright, Malagor, you want to lift off now? No longer need to distract from the Furies, and then, in fact, group 4. Back off, you're no longer needed. You guys go surround and kill the, I don't know, Lord. Alright, I'm gonna speed this up in a second. Oh, actually, you know what? You can deal with this then. Actually, minus the Scourge of Arden, which can still stick around here. Malagor, hover overhead. Ah, it's taking a little bit of damage to this Tomb Scorpion. Alright, fine. We'll peel you 2 off. And everybody else is moving in nicely. Alright, Malagor land again, go after the Tomb Prince. I think I can just pop this off. The Flock of Doom is not going to do too much damage to the single entities and monstrous infantry. What it will, however, do is allow for the passives to come down, and that's a good thing. Ooh, looks like the Curse of Joff comes down, so everybody rampages, but only for a few more seconds as everybody else gets torn to shreds. Alright. Probably could have just use the single entities and none of the non-single entities. Alright, we're at max speed now. Come on, hurry up. Use nobody else just to prevent additional damage and casualties, but, you know, not the kind of battle that we need to take seriously, just the kind of battle that the auto-resolve doesn't like us for. It's one of the reasons I think we're probably only going to have 4 Harpies at the sort of in the endgame stack for Malagor. I think we'll try it with 6, but I fear that the auto-resolve is always going to hate them as weak units. So we gotta, you know, limit ourselves to some degree. Anyway, we'll loot and raise this for the money this time. And, okay, did you have to move this way, man? Come on. What is this? Alrighty, and you are going to go into raiding stance like so. Could have gone into hidden encampment, but I wouldn't really mind if these guys decided to come down here. Speaking of hidden encampments, okay, not for you. Well, I guess we were saving the money because I was expecting the Minotaurs to come in, but we were like 2 marks short. We could pop this off right now instead of waiting for Wizard Caliph's Palace. Wait a moment. EU. Yeah, you're a tier 4. Oh, you're waiting one more turn for that tier 5. Alright. So just stay like that, buddy. Keep hold of the cash for now. You. Magog. Is there anything interesting we can do here? We could build a Bestigor herd so you can replenish your corn gores should they die. Your most critical thing was the Dread building, and I guess the raiding party building, but you can't build that right now. We could go for these things, but they're kind of not critical right now either. Oh, we can at least preemptively build the fire pit even if we can't... Yeah, I guess, yeah, go for that. We can build the fire pit even if we can't get the Bulgors as yet. You're gonna need a tier 5 for that. We could temporarily... Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, Torox, you can wait so that you can upgrade both buildings at once, I guess. We're just gonna need to make sure that we actually have enough money to do so. Diplomacy.
What?
I don't think there's... Oh, the Decadent Host is nearby. Oh, huh. They're probably going to get into a fight with the Tomb Kings, which have really done good work up here, you gotta admit. It's quite impressive. Clan Spittle. I mean, it'll lower our Bestial Rage. Ooh, defensive alliance with Clan Moors. This would give us vision, which is nice, and they are fighting the Ironclaw Works. But we'd have to betray them if they take Blackcrag, because we want that for ourselves. This will keep Scarby happy, though. Fine. We'll lose a little bit of Bestial Rage and just try to keep an eye on Blackcrag. And, speaking of Scarby... Oh, no, we already have the mission. It's for killing Vikram. Oh, that's why I should have gone down there. Alright, fine, fair enough. And Jacqueline is too far. I'm gonna say Burundin or Thungni. This guy with a full stack isn't even an option. Kinda don't like any of these options, to be honest, but we'll pick one of these and we'll see. And this we'll see as well. Alrighty, and yes, you have 1, 2 full stacks, and then the Garrison, which is a nice one with lots and lots of elite swear, and we will have to take the battle seriously. Okie dokie, that sounds like an unturn to me, so we'll skip on by. I think we had an upgrade for the Death Gorge. I'd rather not give him the money right now, it's on the turn. And we also gotta rack up enough dread for us to be able to upgrade these things to tier 3 so we can get more chosen god gores of various kinds. Just don't have access to them as yet. Elspeth is going to... Allies have refused to join... Really, Valkia? Aren't you dead? Okay. Huh, you kind of don't have the choice of... Huh, interesting. When they demand a gift, you don't have the choice of not asking your allies. And Legion of the Gore Queen breaks her defensive lines. Wow, that's really not what I'd expect out of Khorne. But, oh. Yeah, they have just the Palace of Ruin left, eh? Oh, go figure. Alright, Hero Self-Defense chance, Weapon Strength, good. What do we have otherwise? Ah, yes, Empire of Beasts. That's the one we want. I mean, there's a bunch that we want, but, you know. Ooh, Dread gain from battles plus 25% campaign movement range. There's some good stuff. Some real good stuff. Alright, well, we're working on it. The Beastmen tech tree is rather shallow, for obvious reasons, so, you know, it's not a big deal. You can attack this guy. I'm willing to bet he'll run, though. He won't fight you, even with this guy reinforcing. Which is a bit of a shame. We could try to raid, but... Well, we'll see. And, oh, hello. Ballistic the Experimenter. And Reponse does have, ooh, a bunch of knights. Oh, and a bunch more knights, including some questing knights. You're gonna need to be full health for this, most likely. But then again, they are recruiting. Actually, I still don't know how you're gonna be able to deal with Gotrek and Felix. I also really don't remember what the defeat trait for Reponse is and whether it's super important or not. Oh, wow, 8.5. That's nice. That's real nice. We have Endless Herd for 100 turns, yeah, no. For 3 more turns. Perhaps then we should make use of it instead of taking out the last territories that we can raid here, even if it does allow Reponse to come back. Who knows, maybe she'll even attack us when she's back. Alrighty, you, sir. Go for the Call of Violence. Leadership and physical resistance in a decent little area. And we do have a decent amount of units that can benefit from their rank 7s, so once we get there, it'll be good. You can have Evasion, and then grab Many-Limbed Fiend afterwards, whereas you guys keep the replenished troops, but otherwise hold on to your points until you're needed. Alright, looks good to me. Now, Malagor's stuck where he is, Slaw's stuck where he is, Magok is, go figure, not stuck where he is. We could push him down towards Suntree Glades. Is this Cetra's last settlement? No, he has 2. Oh, for the love of... Okay, you know what, let's go down there then. Much as I'd love to kill off Talakwa, we need to... We actually do want to get rid of them. And hey, Cetra's back, though probably not for long. Though, Suntree Glades is a proper garrison, so yeah, we do need to take it out. How many turns will it take to build Minotaurs? We're probably going to have to sit here, and yeah, it'll take 2 turns. We can actually build 2 if we wanted to. Is this then a good opportunity to have Torox go into his encampment and actually recruit? Oh wait, he wouldn't be able to recruit anyway. He'd have to... Yeah, alright, fine. We'll go for the Cursed Labyrinth right now. And we will build the Fire Pit as well. He needs that. And I guess the Impaled Corpses? Okay, now we really can't afford you to die, buddy. I don't really care about the Scorched Grass Plains in this particular army, though I haven't really decided what exactly Torox's army is going to look like, because, like I've said before, I don't really want to repeat the same exact army compositions I've used before with the Lords. Yeah, alright, you stay here, Mr. Dar, go southward, I guess, towards Magok. Though once again, I'm not 100% sure that we actually need 2 over there. You, just in case, are going to level, because they might attack us. We do want Greater Arcane Conduit. We also do want to get to the rank 7s for all these units. We do use Enfeebling Foe a lot. This will eventually be useful, but right now it is not. This is a relatively cheap Savage Dominion. 10 mana isn't bad. You know what? Let's go for Savage Dominion. You have enough reductions, I think, for you to actually make good use of the spell. Wargore still looking to get to rank 8. Get that Bloodlust ability. Get the Bloodlust ability. Or rank 10, rather. You're still not going to be able to save all that much points in the first place anyway. Heroic Killing Blow. Alrighty, let's see if they attack off of this. Skip, 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 and turn. And we just gotta raise Wizard Caliph's Palace, get that ritual at Vulture Mountain, and then start pumping out those bully boys. Queeky, what you want? Military, now you want a military alliance? And I guess we could. Again, the only thing that makes me wonder about this is whether you're going to just move northward and take Black Crag before weekend, which would be unfortunate. On the other hand, it's a decent amount of cash. Why not? And if he takes anything we want, we'll just kill him. The Skaven should appreciate it, if nothing else. Alrighty, looks like Arkhan is gonna want to play. He's got a lot of... This is the AI cheating with recruit ranks again, right? How is it getting everything at such super high ranks? Well, good for them. And Arkhan's at level 9. Oh, he's screwed. Yeah, see, it's definitely not battles doing this. And I guess there's probably some tech combinations or some building combinations that do this. Not that it'll matter, because they'll all be dead in moments. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Arkhan the Black has decided to sally out, perhaps in revenge for us casting down the Black Pyramid of Nagash and then using the ruined stone to build the Black Herd Stone. Malagor, I'm sure, will be able to obliterate this first army before the reinforcements arrive, or at least we shall see. Poor Arkhan is only at rank 9 and thusly does not have his chariot. And we are certainly going to punish for him, assuming that the flyers can catch him, which is what they're doing. Going to start the battle off by charging the piggies into the first ranks of skeleton spears and whatnot we can find, while summoning the defiled crows in a blob of crypt ghouls and dropping a flock of doom upon them. Speaking of flocks of doom, we've got all of the harpies touching down, 2 upon the 2 skeleton archers, and then the rest to surround and destroy a couple of isolated units of spears. And though the spears will hit back a little bit, the harpies should be able to tear through them. And soon enough, they'll have frenzy as well once that warg war of ours levels up, and, well, the harpies will get even stronger. Gonna be nice. The units of defiled crows are still distracting the enemy nicely, while poor Arkhan is down to about 10% of his HP. Though I do note that the Blood Shriek Chimera does kind of match his color scheme, so at least it gets destroyed by something that kind of matches it. Anyway, the Hex Wraiths are still here. They're still my favorite unit in the game, but I don't think the enemy has too much that it can do with them here, especially as we start hitting the blob of Hex Wraiths and Warhounds, Direwolves, with overcast flocks of doom. Hex Wraiths drop to about 50% of their HP. The unit of Ushabti has been summoned as the Realm of Souls Tier 3 has been activated, and that just means we're going to back the Harpy swarms off, since they've already taken care of all of these skeleton archers and these skeleton spears over there. There's still a big old blob of a fight here. Crypt Ghouls working together with I want to say skeleton warriors, and I thought I saw a Tomb Guard unit here earlier, but it might be gone. Oh, and there is a hero out here, Tomb Prince as well, and a Tomb Scorpion. Decent amount of stuff. Good for them. The giants should be able to take care of the... Oh wow, that guy went flying. The giants should be able to take care of the Tomb Scorpion now. And I think I might put some giants in the Slaaneshi army, actually. And give them some Centaurs and some Giants, and throw in, well, obviously the Slangors, a couple of Praeton, and that might be nice. Don't go overboard from any one particular unit there. Slaanesh does like variety, after all, spice of life. Anyway. It looks like the summoned Ushabti have moved on in to help out in terms of fighting this particular blob with the piggies, but, well, they've arrived too late to help the Tomb Prince, who is down to 10% of his HP, and it looks like the Tomb Scorpion isn't faring too much better. Now there's a lot of things happening on screen as the reinforcing armies have arrived, and thus Malagor starts dropping overcast flocks of doom on the massed enemies below, while up above in the sky, the Fellbats are taken out in an aerial ballet against the Harpies. Very, very nice. A very hectic fight up in the center here, but the longer it lasts, the more flocks of doom come down on the enemy below. And we've seen what Malagor can do against the piles of infantry like this. And now he can Penumbral Pendulum through them a fair bit as well. Alright, how's that bounce power looking? We're at, still very slightly in the enemy's favor, perhaps with the last units of the reinforcements having just arrived, a unit of Ushabti with Great Bow, that balance of power will start dropping. And, as we've seen before, Harpies have certainly enough armor-piercing damage to take out Ushabti with Great Bow. Frankly, regular Ushabti as well, at least in numbers. But there we have to be a lot more careful because the regular Ushabti are going to hit back. And there's no need for these guys to suffer severe damage. Ooh, looks like another Lord has bit the dust or turned back to bone dust. And now the balance of power starts rapidly rising in our favor, going from just in the enemy's favor to about 50%, 60%, 70% in ours. And in fact, it looks like the enemy has realized that they've no hope. Their leadership begins dropping severely, and it's only a matter of time until the last units disintegrate and the battle is ours. Just gotta remember to transfer out these piggies from this army. They're very high rank. They've been with us for a while. Granted, 2 already did go to the Cornate army, but we could probably put a few more in another army. Haven't decided which as yet. I fear there might not be enough space in the Slaneshi army to put Razor Gore chariots, even though Slaanesh does like its chariots. I will think about it. I mean, I guess maybe we could just put 2 in there, and then put more Razor Gore chariots in Kazarak's army. Dogs and chariots are his thing, I think. But we'll see. Either way, the last enemy lord falls, the last of the enemy units melt away, and in mere moments the battle will be ours. Ooh, and we're just about ready to unlock that regeneration for those manticores. That's gonna be real nice. Also thinking we might do 2 Tzeentchen armies completely different from each other, because Morgur buffs Tzeentchen units, or at least most Tzeentchen units, but Sangors with their range attacks might not work as well with him, so we could put Sangors and, Chosen Sangors rather. We could put those guys together with some Cygors in a range-focused army in another army, whereas obviously Morgur likes to be in the, well, not so ranged. Because he wants to take advantage of his Mortis Engine effects and all that, and his Chaos Spawn. And they're kind of big, and they will cover the enemy from range fire. But anyway, I digress. Just getting ahead of myself. We'll get there. I just love theory crafting future armies. Anyway. All right, there we go. Not the brightest idea on Arkhan's part to attempt that particular attack, but hey, it works in our favor. Looks like one of the Ushabti with Great Bow gets reforged, or whatever the reconstructed, re-somethinged, and otherwise we're good. We could take the tiny amount of cash or the tiny amount of healing. Neither one is particularly matters all that much. I'm gonna say, I guess, tiny amount of cash. We're about to spend a fair bit, so yeah. And at least we get to stay in a raiding stance, and that's a big chunk of change that will fund our future beastly endeavors. What do we have here? Now it looks like they will indeed attack. Huh. Alright, I'm certainly in it to fight some Bretonnians. Yeah, Gotrek is going to be a huge problem. I don't even know if we can kill him. Luckily, he has low armor. And the Manticores are going to have to work overtime for this. But nonetheless, let's see how we do. If anything, we can always back out if we're just leaving only Gotrek on field. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Should be a pretty fun fight against the Bretonnians. Looks like we're getting some very solid variety in terms of this particular episode. Fought some Tomb Kings, or, well, Arkhan Tomb Kings, which are a little bit different, obviously. Half vampire can't have Tomb Kings sort of deal. But anyway, fought some Tomb Kings-ish, fought some Vampire Coast, and now fighting some Bretonnians. Speaking of, the Knights Errant charge on in, but the Mad Cow Disease unit of Pestigors, or Pestigors rather, takes the charge and starts whacking away at those Knights Errant with their armor piercing. Another very nice charge from the Knights Errant, but fortunately they're not going to be as strong as something like Questing Knights, and though our Ungor Spears lose about 20% of their HP, the enemy will get bogged down, and our Hounds of Pestilence are on the way, both to run down the Knights and the enemy Peasant Bows. Speaking of the enemy Knights, it looks like they did fairly well in charging directly into the Hounds of Pestilence, though the models haven't dropped too severely. The Knights Errant have done more damage than they've taken. We're going to have to punish them for it, however, as we move more Hounds of Pestilence in, and then start chucking those armor-piercing throwing axes with poison into the Knights Errant as well. Enough axes bring them down, and both Knights Errant will shatter and rout, and we can now move the Grog Hooves of Wolf's Run into battle to take down those Peasant Bows. Together with the other Centaurs as well, which we're helping out. There we are. And obviously the poor Peasant Bows stand no chance against I mean, really anything. I mean, I guess they'd probably beat Skaven Slaves in a melee, I assume. But that's about it. Not too many more units than that. They would probably lose against the zombies, I'd wager, over time. The zombies would simply outlast them, even if they can barely damage them. But considering they have no armor and no melee defense, yeah, the zombies, if they close the distance, they'd be able to take them out. Anyway, I digress. All the peasant bows are dead, but new ones have arrived on field with the enemy reinforcements. The enemy's lord has been surrounded and killed off by a combination of the Bestigors and the 2 Manticores here, who have otherwise now moved to take out Felix, who is somewhere in the center of the enemy blob. Obviously, Felix is much less tanky than Gotrek is, and Gotrek is one of those units, those single entities that if we can't pincushion him, we're just gonna ignore. And just let him kill a bunch of Ungors in the center of the mass there while we kill everything else. Anyway, the Bestigors overrun the poor Men-at-Arms, completely obliterating them. Getting a solid amount of kills and damage as well. And there's Gotrek surrounded by a blob of units, while Felix has fallen, and the newly arriving Lord has the 2 Wargors and the Beast Lord going after him as well. There we are. And if it isn't the 2 Manticores, they've been helping out against those single entities quite well and are quite nice additions to a Nurglite army. Though for now this one remains kind of Nurglite Slaaneshi generalist together, all 3 anyway. The enemy lord drops to about 40% of his HP and will soon be out of the picture while we reposition the rest of our army to go after the reinforcements that he's brought. Admittedly, there's really not enough of them there to threaten us. And I believe the Lord has 1 hit remaining, and the Wargor did not get the final blow, and it looks like one of the Manticores will crush the Lord. Alright, as the Lord falls, the peasant rabble that he has brought to the field will shatter as well, and with that, the battle is nearly ours. Gotrek is of course unbreakable, so we still have to fight and kill him. But we do have to run down all those peasants, and we are certainly going to take the time to do it so that basically nothing remains of this army. I'm going to speed up this last little bit, and there he is. He's still locked in combat with the piles of Ungors, and I'm perfectly happy to sacrifice them all. Too bad there isn't something with some kind of damage over time to sacrifice at him, but that's alright. We'll once again send in the Beast Lord, the 2 Wargors, and the 2 Manticores, and then pop off a few spells. Traitorkin to debuff Gotrek's defense by 11. It's not much, but every little bit counts. And we'll use Devolve to reduce his physical resistance by a massive 22 as well, as he does have a fair bit of physical resistance, or he would if I could select him, but I can't because too many things are happening. All good, though. There we are. It looks like he does severe damage still to one of the Manticores, despite this not going so much in his favor, bringing the Manticore down to about half HP and forcing it to rampage before being obliterated in the center of the blob. Alright. A very nice little fight. Nice to see Bretonians. We'll eventually sail up to Bretonnia proper, so I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty more of them. Alright, there we go. Very solid work out of Slaw's army. Again, 1 unit of Knights Errant does escape, but that's pretty minimal. We will... I'm gonna say take the money. We can... I mean, there shouldn't be much in the way of defenders anyway. Well, actually, there were some questing knights. We were in raiding stance, right? So we should heal anyway. Probably not all the way to full, though. Alright, fine. We'll heal. 2,000 gold, though. Screw it, take the gold. We'll be fine. I'm sure we'll be fine. Nobody panic. Alright, and then we'll actually see if we're fine. Alrighty, so firstly, ally mission aborted, Greybeard's Prospector is destroyed. Well done, Scarby. You can keep the Great Desert of Araby. They didn't even deserve the honor of us wiping them out ourselves. Flying Spy, good. Razorgore Chariot for Goraz the Bloodbringer. Oh, wait, it's a Razorgore Chariot, but it doesn't give you bleed, rather? What the heck? That would certainly make it a lot more useful as a mount on the Shaman. I mean, I guess we'll keep you on it for now. It's better if we micro you, but on the other hand, it's worse if you get trapped, because you're gonna get trapped and then it'll be better. Oh, hello, we got the Chalice of Chaos, regenerating flesh, dark fortune, and demonic strength, and Horn of the First Beast. Oh, I guess we completed the tier 5 quest, that's why. Melee defense plus 10, leadership aura, and charge and attack. There's some good stuff there, and a Fencer's Blades. Nemesis Crown lost, alright, so, oh. I guess the Chalice was not from this. Now, we can't give it to Malagor, and our only other legendary option is Torox. So, Torox, enjoy yourself a nice Healy thing. Not the Horn of the First Beast, though that is nice, and we... Granted, you don't have a lot of melee defense. This will give you a third regeneration. It might actually not be needed. I will think about it. The thing is, if Torox keeps the Troll Hide, he'll have... two uses of, well, he'll have 2 regenerations and the regenerating flesh potion of healing effect, so might be a little bit much, I'm not entirely sure. We could give him the Wormslayer sword, should give him 0 melee defense. Actually, what do we have? We've gotten a couple of items. Shield of Talos, nothing really all that good though. There's certainly nothing that I care about putting on to here. What do we have in terms of ancillaries? Banner of Eternal Flame. Oh, Torox has fire damage. Yes, that does make sense. I should have figured that. I wonder if, well... we could give fire damage to the rest of his units, but we'd need fire weakness causing stuff, and I'm not entirely sure that... I'll think about it. Anyway, we don't... Ooh, wait. We can get our first Gorbel. Discouraged. Frenzy for accompanying Lord. I assume that Torox, like, one of the most frenzied... Really? I was about to say one of the most frenzied characters in the lore would already have frenzy. I mean, he got into such a frenzy that he killed everybody in his own tribe and then killed a bunch of other people and made a literal river of blood and then basically passed out of exhaustion. And this guy does not have frenzy. Yeah, game, okay. And that was when he got it, for those unfamiliar with the lore, that was when he got that a brass body of his. The gods were pleased with that. Oh, he gets a Banner of Eternal Flame on his own, but he doesn't get Frenzy. Meaning, just double checking that the game is actually insane and doesn't give him Frenzy in any way. Alright, fine, fair enough. We'll get a Gorbel that gives you Frenzy then, buddy. Ruthless Enforcer. And then we'll figure out what other kind of Gorbels we want. Alright, well, we'll get the first one then. Upgrade, Swords and Heroes, that's it. And Gorbel. That's one. And definitely Frenzy. Like so, we'll pop you in there and hopefully you don't die. In theory, we do want the Whole of Beast Filth, and we do want to get the additional Dread. It is expensive. I'm just wondering, Malagor, how close are you to tier 5? Oh, there's another Skull Island. There's 2 now. We gotta get those. How close are you? Oh, you're 1 turn away from needing your upgrade. Granted, it's actually not that expensive for you. I will think about it. Anyway, Wizard Caliph's Palace. If we tear this down right now, we'll be able to pop the ritual at Vulture Mountain and then do the thing that we've been wanting to do. Namely, okay, actually, you go to Kofor. Oh. Yeah, we're probably going to need to manually fight. Well, actually fight this, but anyway. We could keep gaining 8.5k per turn and not take these guys down, but I want to pop the ritual and get to our... get started on those bulls. So I think we're just going to attack. And they will in fact come out and play. Alrighty. And this will probably be one of the last fights against the Tomb Kings down here. And while we do still have the Tomb Kings in Nagaron, there's also plenty of other, like, elves and stuff running around over there. High elves, wood elves, some dark elves in Harganeth. And yeah, we'll deal with those. Anyway, some solid defenders here. Kill them all. Alrighty, here we go. Another little Tomb King slash Vampire Count's force belonging to the remnants of Arkhan's faction up to this point. And this should both be in some ways easier and in some ways more difficult than the fight against Arkhan himself. On the one hand, Arkhan had 3 stacks to rely upon, whereas these guys do not, but he had a lot less of the rare elites and constructs that he could call upon. Whereas here, they have so many elites, barely any basic troops, that we're going to have a hard time actually making good use of our harpies until the enemy is completely isolated. Anyway, we're going to start the battle off with a little duel, not something we get a lot of, as Malagor isn't the most fighty lord around. And, well, with his armor dropped by 60, it's making him even less fighty, but the enemy gets hit back with an enfeebling foe and loses all of that melee defense. There we go. Besides, considering Malagor's lore, the mortuary cult and that Lich Kai priest, I think Malagor was quite tempted to take one of those guys out himself, even if it did do a teensy bit of damage to him. Really, we just need regeneration rather, on him of some kind, and then we'll be just fine. Alright, and the enemy army has arrived on the battlefield. We're going to start by hitting the deck gunners with an overcast flock of doom. Deck gunners are one of, if not the most fragile unit in the entire game, so a single overcast flock of doom actually kills them off completely. You gotta be so dang careful with these guys when you're using them yourself, as the vampire goes, because you know, you sneeze on them and they all die. It's it's quite concerning. But anyway, that's one flock of doom. We can always drop another if we find a decent target, but if the enemy wants to move away from those screaming skull catapults, that seems like a good place to drop a defiled flock of crows upon them. Defiled crows. Flock of defiled crows, whatever. And these little guys might be tiny, but it's not like the Screaming Skull Catapult crew has too much of a chance here. Though it does look like the enemy has realized its error and is moving a unit of Necropolis Knights to try to bail out the catapult crew. Unfortunately for them, they can't quite do enough about this, because the Defiled Crows are unbreakable units. And though the Necropolis Knights can charge right through them, it's reminding me of the Cetra campaign and the absolutely insane charges we were doing with the Necropolis Knights for that entire campaign. I think they were basically outcharging Bretonnia in Lewin's campaign, with the exception of the Grail Knights. Just unstoppable charges through massive amount of enemies for the entire campaign. But anyway, the Defiled Crows kill off the crew and will themselves be killed off by the Necropolis Knights, but, well, that's just fine. Anyway, the battle proper, I guess, starts off with us knocking a few Fellbats out of the skies. Our Harpies obviously tear them to shreds, get a nice penumbral pendulum through the mobile units of the enemy Tomb Guard piles, and get ready to touch down upon various enemy units. Now, the enemy has 3 units of Ushabti with Great Bow, which do have to be targeted. Unfortunately, they're not isolated enough, and with those 2 units of Necropolis Knights guarding them, we have to commit our single-entity flyers rather than our Harpies to deal with them. It's a shame in the sense that, obviously, these guys could be killing lords, heroes, and that Cambrian War Sphinx. But oh well. We'll just have Carrick Stoneheart and the Pet Giant deal with the big boy, and whatever else has come around to play here. While Malagor floats overhead, continuing to drop flocks of doom upon the enemy, and the flyers, the crows, sort of circle the area, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Just gotta find, once again, some isolated targets. Can activate another Defiled Crow Vortex over the blob of Tomb Guard, but the goal for these Defiled Crows is not, in fact, to touch down and help against the Tomb Scorpion and Tomb Guard, but rather to move towards the enemy Bone Giant. Now, the Bone Giant was, we had previously summoned a Cygor, and 10 mana to keep this guy busy for 60 seconds. Not really done doing any damage to him, but at least, I don't know, at least it kept him busy. It's something. But what the Defiled Crows can do is probably keep the Bone Giant busy until the end of the battle. Bone Giants have pretty darn poor area of effect attacks and can't kill too many of them at once, and the Defiled Crows, being unbreakable, will just keep them locked in place. In the meantime, the poor Ushabti with Great Bow are suffering greatly, including one I believe that we were able to isolate out here, and so the Harpies quickly close and start tearing them to shreds. And in fact, stop tearing them to shreds, as with that the Ushabti are done for. The enemy army is looking to join them rather soon. The Khemrian War Sphinx is down to about 10% of its HP. Bone Crusher, I'm sure, helping out. And we did Enfeebling Foe it so that it could be severely damaged like this. And there we go. Malagor arrives once again with another flock of Harpies to help out against the last remaining unit of Tomb Guard here, as we want to join the rest of the enemy in the center, or to join the rest of our army together, and the enemy, whatever. Everybody join hands, and other things. It looks like with that, the battle hits 100% bounce power in our favor, and only the summoned Ushabti still in the center of all this remain. The enemy lord will drop. The poor Bone Giant still is distracted. There is still a Tomb Prince out here, attempting to face off against that horrifying Scourge of Arden. Gotta love the Praeton model. They're unsettling. I love it. Alright, and who remains? Oh, it's just the summoned Ushabti, and how, of course, we get the Curse of Joff upon us just as that Tomb King, or Tomb Prince rather, leaves us. But that's alright, we are maybe rampaging, but there is only one unit left to close the distance with. And, oh, the giant is, it looks like it's slightly bigger than the Bone Giant. But it's not like this guy has flesh, so if he did, he would be that size. Not that this guy has ever had flesh, because Bone Giants are carved. They're not actual undead creatures in that way. Anyway, heroic victory for us, and with that, the battle is ours. Very nice. Arkhan is defeated, and another ritual shall be popped off. Alrighty, beautiful, minus the Necropolis Knight survive. It seems like one unit survives every single battle. It's quite curious. Not that it matters over much. The enemy is destroyed. Our Harpies did reasonably well, though, considering the number of elites that composed the enemy army, we didn't get to use them as much as we normally might. And the Scourge of Arden, by the looks of it, leads the flying single entities, and Malagor just leads everyone, as he does. We will devour the captives for the healing, as we will want to proceed to raise... Hey, the Bloodbrood Behemoth, fantastic. Fantastic. That's for Magok the Bloodhorn. Lose one of the regular dogs, I guess. And grab that Bloodbrood Behemoth. Oh right, I forgot we had the Verberglund Broodmother. I hadn't decided whether I want to put the Jabberslythe with Malagor or with Morgur. They're both solid options. You know what, just do this. And auto-resolve. And we will... Yeah, we're definitely looting and raising this one. Perfection. Free Potion of Strength, then immediately into raiding to be immune to that attrition, and I guess you're going to want to briefly grab the Skull Island. It's 20k, I mean, even for us, that's quite nice. And then I guess we'll head down to Telaqua. I wanted to briefly visit a few of the factions here, including grabbing Thorgrim's defeat trade. Maybe we should raise Orion's camp while on the way, but I think it's time to move upward towards Black Crag and Karazakarak, both of which are... special herd stones. There's Altdorf. There's a fair few of them to collect after all. Skavenblight isn't one, right? Okay, no, it isn't. I remembered, vaguely remembered, almost remembered, double checking it, but yeah, anyway, perform ritual. Yes. And there we go. We reach the next thing, giving us a new army capacity, horde building reductions, and most importantly, more herd stones and minotaurs. Alright, meaning... We should now probably spend a little bit dread on getting some Minotaurs to Mr. Torox. If we spend a little bit, we can get him 4 at once, which would be great. Get him a couple Gore Bulls and his army will be ready to go. I might even keep some Harpies with him with the Minotaurs. That kind of works. They're relatively fragile and all that. Kind of following the herd there. We'll still have to deliver that Scourge of Arden though, which is kind of an annoyance. And wait, we have... Oh no, we are at 4 out of 4 because we took Torox. Huh. Now, Morgur I'm pretty sure is dead because I haven't seen him. I wonder if Kazrak's dead as well. I don't see regular Chaos Corruption, so Kazrak might be dead as well, unfortunately. Yeah, the unfortunate aspect of that is that we can't go over our limitation. On the other hand, the next one won't even give us any extra army capacity, but it will allow us to increase capacities of cockatrices, gorgons, the big boys, which is all great. All right. We should be able to max out our Marks of Ruination relatively quickly. Anyway, let's suspend a little bit of dread. I know I said I was going to save it for the level 3 Herdstone, but I want to get Torox fighting, like, immediately. So we need... Oh. Wait, these are... It's 550. Dang, we need 1,100 in order to start that. Oh, Bulgors are the same amount? That's curious. Well, then I guess we keep raiding until we have... Like, I don't want to spend 4 turns not raiding, you know? It feels like a waste of time. And then you need to hit tier 5 in order to get Bulgors, which will happen eventually, and you're obviously probably want a couple of Gore Bulls as well. Oh. Flammable attacks, eh? If we spam the flammable attack kind, we could use them to debuff enemies for Torox, potentially, eh? Might be the way to go. Anyway, I digress. With that, we're out of time, and I'm going to have to call this episode here. We should actually probably start building the Ruinous Seances, which are my favorite Seances, just for the increased dread. We are being gated by dread more than anything now. So let's start upgrading these with the dread buildings. And, oh, this is not the same kind of thing. This is the Slaaneshi thing. Yeah, most of these places will need to be Slaanesh plus Tzeentch, won't they? Which is fine. But anyway, eventually we won't need dread as much. Eventually. It'll take a bit. For now, I'm calling it here. Next time we get the Minotaurs up and running, we wipe out Sutra and Khemri. We grab those 2 Skull Islands and build up more dread buildings in our herds. We also wipe out the Chevalier de Lyonesse and move out further to seek new enemies everywhere. We still are going to the Empire and just have to grab a few special herd stones on the way. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to leave those likes in the comments below. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.